Hi, this is Kathleen with Sunny Mountain Patterns. Here's how to make mango tank, romper, and jumpsuit tutorial. This is the jumpsuit, and then this is the back of the romper with optional gathered legs. So first we're going to attach the shoulders, and you can of course press the center front and fold in the button placket so that we know where it is when we're ready to actually put the garments together. We're not going to sew this quite yet because we want to attach the bottoms to the bodice first. But sew the top shoulders right sides together at 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter. Everything's going to be 3/8 of an inch to 1 centimeter unless it's like the hem or top stitching. So then we want to attach the facing shoulders, again, right sides together. Do both left and right shoulders and forward and back stitch to keep it nice and tight together. And this is the other side of the facing. You can, of course, finish the bottom of the facing now. So that usually involves serging or pinking the ends or zigzag so it doesn't fray. And now we're going to attach the bodice facing. So right sides together for the facing to the bodice. Bookend open like a book all the seams so that they lay flat if you can. And then pin around curve. We're going to do this for the neck and for both of the left and right arm openings. And we're going to stitch again at 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter. I picked that because it's easier to remember it's 1 centimeter. I'm not going to lie. And then go all the way around. Get yourself a bang cushion toe. Don't just toss it around like I was. I was kind of in a rush. And then we have to do the arms, which I'll do right now. And then open that up like a book. I did not do that. My bad. And then do the other side. So now we're done for 3 areas. We're going to clip the curves. Do not clip through where you sewed because you will not be happy. Clipping just helps everything when you turn it right side out to sit nicely. So we're going to make the bodice facing right side out, which is the magic. So we're going to pull one side by flipping it over and then start pulling the inside out. If you need to, you can use a chopstick or something that won't mark it to push it out, or a bodkin or something. And pull all the way out, and we're going to press this once it's all the way turned right side out. This is like that magic. And press so everything's flat. And then we're going to top stitch after we've pressed with a hot iron, as is appropriate for their fabric. So we're top stitching the neck all the way around, about 1/4 of an inch from the edge. Generally, it's a good way of doing it. If you need to, I suggest moving the needle over and then using the end of the foot as the guide. If you're wondering what that black thing is, that's a magnet. That's how I keep track of where my seam is. Very smart. Okay, so we're going to do the shoulders. The armhole. But if you want a smooth finish when you are done for the side seam, start 1.5 inches away from and end 1.5 inches away from the front and the back. Okay, my friends are texting me ridiculous amounts. So now we're going to gather the waist for the bottoms by adding in basting stitches. You leave a nice long tail so you can start pulling like this. You want to grab the bobbin thread, and we're going to attach the bottom to the bodice by matching, the fronts and the backs, and then distribute out the gatherings. There we go. In this case, I'm using perpendicular pins just so that it won't move the gathers too much. It's a very subtle gather, by the way. So we have these two. We can top stitch across the top if you feel like it, or finish the edges. Yeah, so I did feel like it apparently. So again, top stitching is still a 1/4 inch from the edge. You could of course go the other way around, it's up to you. So I'm top stitching the back, I top stitch the front, and then the other front. So I haven't done the side seam yet, so I'm doing everything on the flat because I feel like it's much easier for me to do that. So we're going to press the center front and fold in the button placket extension for left and right sides for everything. So we already have a guide from the top. We're just going to roll down that area, down all the way to the bottom of the pant leg. Or rather, I should say the romper or jumpsuit leg. So it's one continuous line. I feel like this is an easier way than trying to do it separately. So we're going to attach the inseam front to back. Here's the option if you have a diaper placket. This is an option. You do not have to have this. So we're going to fold it in half and pin right sides together. This is the quick way. If you have a serger, makes a wonderful way of doing it. You just serge it all the way down and then flip it out. Flip the inseam placket out or down, as it were. Of course, the garment's upside down because it's a little bit easier for me to pin this way than the other way around. So right sides together, and we're pinning. It's bias tape, so it should it's bias strip of fabric, so it should fit a little bit nicer along the curve. And then we're going to sew it together. If you have a serger, this is a good time to use a serger to just serge it all together at about 3/8 of an inch. You don't have to be accurate in this. You do 1/2 inch, it still will work well. But don't go like an inch because that's way too wide. And then take out your pins as you're sewing because I seriously bent a pin. The needle caught it. And if you have a serger, your knife will catch it and you'll dull your knife and you'll be mad. So do both sides, the front and the back, and you flip it down like that. And you can of course top stitch if you feel like it. And if you're not putting in the bias strip for diapers, this is how you sew the inseam. You match up the front and the back. You pin and overlap the button plackets. We have the right sides together. And we're just going to pin all the way around. Which, by the way, it's awkward pinning towards you. So now we're going to sew it. You can certainly use the serger at this point, or you can sew it and then finish the seam by zigzag, pinking, serger, or do flat fell, which is a lot more work, by the way. So we're going to clip the curves and then finish off the finish the hem on the flat. We haven't done the side yet. So open it up and then fold it about 1/2 inch and then one more time 1/2 inch. If you want to make this gathered, of course you can make this 1/4 inch and 1 inch. So 1/4 inch is a little shorter. And then 1 inch wide so you can string elastic through. The key here is if you want a very smooth side seam, stitch 1.5 to 2 inches away from each end. So don't do like what I just did and start all the way from the beginning because you won't have a nice smooth hem when you're done stitching the side seam. I'm not gonna lie to you, I think this is the one where I didn't actually stitch the inseam yet. So it's ridiculously short. I kind of had to do some movie making magic because I don't want to re-film everything. So after we're doing that, we can sew the side seam. Oh, I lied. This is the optional elastic legs tutorial. So this is my hack. I have a full-length video for this, but it's the you're just gonna fold over a cord that's much longer than the opening. sew it down, and then tie the elastic and pull it through. And then you secure the ends of the elastic by stitching the ends. Then we can do the side seam. So I flipped up the lining for the bodice, and I'm sewing all the way down, matching the side seams and the waist. And then if you didn't sew all the way over to the ends of your cuff, roll it down. And sew that. Roll down. You only need to roll down one roll. 2 rolls is overkill. See, this one doesn't have a cuff. That's my mistake. Oh, magic. So here's a detail of rolling down the cuff. If my hands just don't get in the way. You roll down the cuff, only one roll. You don't have to do both rolls. And then sew. And then flip it up. And now you have a nice smooth cuff. And then you just tack that down. So yeah. And then we can finish the seams. Or you could have done it as you were going along. Most of the side seams you'd be able to do. If you'd like this pattern, it's in the description below, and there's a link to my Etsy shop. Thank you.